welcome back to Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a brand new Sacred Union energy update. I thought yesterday was going to be the energy update, but we actually ended up doing more of an ascension channeling, looking at the recent energies for the collective for ascension in general. Do make sure that you check it out. I will put a link to that in the description box. There is a lot of energy that we're experiencing right now, so hopefully those messages are going to be supportive for you to help navigate. And if you are on the Sacred Union path of ascension, if you're catalyzed to your journey with a partner that you might call a sacred partner, a high-level soulmate, or a twin flame, then do make sure that you're watching the ascension energy updates or that you're tuned into the ascension energy as well, because that's the purpose of your connection with your counterpart. It is for the purpose of your ascension, and it helps the collective ascension as well. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go into the sacred union aspect of things, divine masculine, divine feminine, what's going on with these energies. I have been getting June is going to be big. I was talking to somebody and she was feeling September as well. What I'm actually feeling is there's going to be an uptick in energy in June. Significant energy moving in June with regards to sacred unions, and that's for a purpose, because I feel like there's something big happening with regards to the greater collective. Come to the edge. Yeah, I feel like there's something that's happening with regards to the greater collective. I'm not quite sure what that is yet. We might do some channeling on that over on Susan Dawn Ascension Connections in the weeks to come. But I do feel like there's going to be an anchoring in by the time the fall rolls around, by the time September rolls around, an embodiment. Embodiment is the key word now. It is not enough to just have an intellectual understanding. It's really about anchoring in and embodying that balance, embodying that inner union. And that means making the changes. That means taking the action. That means shifting the patterns, not just in your energy, but in how you present yourself, how you portray yourself, your authentic self, how you communicate, how you just are. It's about being the core of you, the truth of you, the authentic soul of you in everyday life and in all situations. And again, I always say this, it does not mean perfection. This journey is not about perfection, it's a process, but it's about just being aware, and through that awareness, making conscious choices to just keep being your authentic self, and leveling up in that and becoming more comfortable with that, and looking at where there might be trigger points and keep working through those trigger points. So we go into some of that in the Ascension energy update. We're going to be continuing with some Ascension energy going forward as well. Because that really truly is what this journey is about, and you're just doing that with a counterpart. You're just doing that in a conscious connection with your twin flame, with your sacred partner, with another person. And again, there's a huge difference in connection and energy. I'm not going to get into that, but you can, if you're new here especially, you can check out the previous readings, previous teachings, the Twin Flame Truths channelings, Journey to Union program that I have available on my website. And I have a new book that's going to be coming out, which I'm going to be announcing in May. And you can find out how you can be part of that as well. All right, so let's get into it and see what's going on with the union energies. I'm using this Wisdom of the Oracle deck, and it's interesting that I'm being called to this deck because it feels like we're going to bring it down just a little bit. Usually we channel a lot of higher level ascension energy, but I'm feeling like we're diving into the sacred unions, we're diving into the counterpart connections, but like on a more of a 3D level. This is spiritual connection. Don't forget that either. It's an energetic connection first and foremost. And so we can't just look at the physical as all there is. We can't just look at the external. We have to bring that into ourselves as well. Again, I'm not going to go into everything. If you're new to my teachings, if you're new to how I channel, you can check out previous channelings or all the programs available on my website. Or stay tuned to my newsletter for info about the book, which is going to have everything. I'm really excited for that. I can't wait to share that. Okay, so that's going to be the foundation. That's going to be like a baseline, especially if you're new here. Okay, so truth be told, I want to get a couple of cards here before we start mending. I love this energy. It feels like it started coming in the month of February into March, I feel. But especially in this month, April, it feels like there's been a pivotal, it's been a shift, but it's been a pivotal point. And what I mean by that is we've been channeling this turning point, this creative process that we've been undergoing with our ascension journey. And I shared in the ascension energy update that I really felt called to like just be, especially with everything I experienced last week. I really felt called to just be and allow myself to daydream. And I was seeing time strands, energetic threads coming out from my heart space, weaving into the universe. And what I was told is that is new creative points, new timelines that I'm creating. And by allowing myself to daydream, I'm releasing the past and not having expectations for the future, but just letting it become. And that's what we're meant to be doing. We're meant to be very present, not worried about how is the future going to unfold or what is it going to look like, and not holding on to the past as keeping us a prisoner to ourselves or a prisoner to our journey or a prisoner to our past, but anchoring very much into the present. And that's what this energy feels like. It's a very healed energy. And interesting, I was going to say healing, and healed came out, so it does feel like the work that we've done, there's a result coming through from this. A transformation coming through from this. It's a cause and effect. Because of the work that we've done, we're receiving the effect of it. We're understanding the effect of it. And the effect of it is the healing, is the transformation, is the shift, and is this new creative point. Always take these readings as they resonate for you. If it's not resonating for you yet, it could be this is what's to come if you're not quite at this point yet, or it could be where you've been. So take it as it resonates for you. You can reflect on it, or it could be where you're heading, or it could be what you're experiencing now. Also, when we're channeling for the divine masculine, divine feminine, and the union energies, you can take this for the greater collective, because your individual journey also has an effect on the collective. We're seeing that with the masculine and the feminine dynamic in the greater collective. You can take it for your individual divine masculine and divine feminine energies, as well as your inner union, or for your counterpart connection. And I highly, highly, highly recommend for all three, because that will give you the greater picture, that will give you a greater understanding, and what you shift within yourself, within your inner masculine and inner feminine energy, has a ripple effect on your counterpart connection. So I highly recommend taking it for all three. It might be more pieces of the puzzle for you. Truth be told, mending, I want to get one more card here. I'm going to get one more card here. The energy does feel a lot softer. We've been channeling that for a while now, too. It does feel like for the divine masculine, there's been a lot of illumination, a lot of healing. And I feel like there might be communication, but there might also be communication, then taking a step back. Communication, then taking a step back. Do not fear the separation. Check out my reconciliation and reunion channeling for those who are coming into communication or contact after a period of separation with their counterpart, coming into that union, coming into that reunion, for tips and understanding of how to navigate your physical union with your counterpart. Don't fear the separation. If you have contact and then all of a sudden your counterpart goes kind of silent again, remember that this is a process and they're processing just as much. And what happens when the two counterparts come together is the energy is recalibrating. You're actually sharing information energetically with each other. Sometimes you have to go to your separate corners in order to process that, so that you can more fully, more harmoniously, more balanced come together. And sustain that, be able to sustain that. So don't fear the separation. There is no separation, and that's really what you're learning on this journey, is that separation from anyone, from your counterpart, from yourself, from God, from the world, is an illusion, that you're not separate from anything or anyone. And that is what is healed. That is what you have come to recognize. That is your inner union, the union with all. So I feel like there's communication or contact that you've either been having or experiencing, or that is on the horizon, depending on, of course, where you are in the journey. But I feel like it's going to be revealing itself. There's more that's going to be revealing itself. They're showing me that we have a full moon. Full moon? Yeah, full moon. I just looked at the moon yesterday and it was full. So yeah, it's a full moon in Scorpio. And Scorpio is deep. It's a water energy. But Scorpio, I feel like Scorpio is the deepest of the water energies, because it's not afraid to go into the depths. It's not afraid to, almost like if there are levels of the water, like the shallow end, the deep end. Well, Scorpio energy is like the abyss, and not being afraid to go into the abyss and see what's there, to uncover what's there. What they're showing me is like the deep end of the ocean, right? It's like, what is that saying from Titanic? The woman's heart is an ocean of secrets, that kind of saying. But it's the deep end of the ocean, and in our human experience, in our human existence, we've only looked at, really explored a small percentage of the ocean, because the ocean is that deep. We haven't really been able to explore the depths of that ocean. Um, there's a movie called The Abyss. It's a brilliant movie. I can't remember, 90s maybe. And what happens is they go down into the depths of the ocean, and there is like a alien life form there. Um, I'm not going to spoil it. Go watch that movie. It's an incredible, incredible movie. But what they're showing me is, in the trenches, in the depth of the ocean, this brilliant light is shining, and that is that alien life form. But it's beautiful. It looks like a prism. This rainbow energy, and basically it's alien life forms that are so disappointed in humanity. Um, for the war and the destruction and the devastation that we do to ourselves. And I feel like there's something definitely to that. That's what our purpose is. That's what we're transcending. Remember, this is not just a connection just for the sake of a relationship, for our human experience. Your connection with your counterpart has a ripple effect, because what you're doing is you are unearthing all of the soul sludge, all of the pain templates, all of that trauma. You're clearing all that, you're healing all that, to come back to love and to come back to unity within yourself and with everyone around you. And so what we're doing is we're clearing all those division templates, all that conflict, all that pain, all of that separation energy. And we're doing that by going into the depths of ourselves, the depth of understanding each other, really hearing each other, listening to each other, rather than talking over each other. Rather than creating division, we're finding ways to unify, to build community. That's what we're here for. That's what our ascension journey is. And you and your counterpart play a crucial role in that, because as one soul, you're reflecting and mirroring back to each other the love, and also where there is not love, where there needs to be more love. That's what the trigger points are. So I feel like what's happening on a higher level, I didn't want to go higher, but on a higher level, is there's more that's being revealed with regards to maybe within yourselves, going deep within yourselves to understand yourselves, going deeper in the shadow work, going deeper in the inner healing, going deeper in the shifting of patterns, the shifting of how you've always been or thought that you needed to be, shifting in your beliefs. This is you really anchoring into to you as a soul. And I feel like you're going to be doing that with each other, through communication with each other. This requires rawness, this requires vulnerability, this requires authentic self expression, and not being afraid to express yourself, especially to your counterpart. You should never be afraid to express yourself to your counterpart, because your counterpart is a reflection of you. And by being afraid and holding yourself back, that's almost like what resists the counterpart, that's what pushes them away. So I feel like there's more that's going to be revealed, and that's where you forgive, that's where you honor each other, that's where you allow yourself to release the past and start from the present moment, because we also have this mending and this regeneration energy. So we're just bringing it higher for a second. I feel like what's happening is there is a fresh start that's coming in, a renewal that's coming in, because of the shift in energy, because of the transformation, because of the illumination that we've been channeling for the past 6 months. I don't want to go deep into what we've been channeling. Check out the previous readings. Go to the ones that on the playlist that call to you. All of these readings kind of pick up and piggyback off of each other. But there is a renewal that's happening within the connection, because of the inner work that you've done within yourselves. And this is both for the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Divine feminine, you've done the work. You have gone through your initiations. You are now embodying, anchoring in to this higher template and higher level of yourself. And you have to have compassion for the old version of yourself for what you didn't consciously know. But now you've grown more conscious. And so you're communicating more healthily. You're having healthier boundaries. You are expressing yourself in a compassionate nature, but also very much like in an empowered energy. You might be experiencing some physical changes in your life as well. Well, the divine masculine is going through that as well. Now, I say this because it's going to resonate with everybody in a little bit of a different way. For some, it's going to be the same counterpart that you were activated to this journey with, who has been going through a transformation too. Whether you see it or not, it's been happening energetically as well. For others, if that person is not able to meet you where you are, if that person has not been doing their inner work and transforming, remember there is this free will component here, then there is another masculine energy that is carrying that twin flame code or that twin flame template or energy, because twin flame is an energy that is going to be coming in to connect with you. And it could be temporary. It could be, just that there are masculines that are reflecting your growth, and it could be platonic or it could be romantic. It could be, more of a soulmate energy that's temporary to reflect where you are as the counterpart might be catching up, so to speak. Or it could be that there is a new counterpart that is coming in. Don't worry about the labels. Don't get affixed to the labels, and don't get affixed to how you think the journey needs to be or should be based on any blueprint that you've seen before. You're creating your journey from this present moment. Remember, we said, the past is in the past and don't have fixed expectations for the future. You're creating your blueprint, your template, your journey from this present moment. Don't get affixed to the labels. That's what's going to hold you back. Allow yourself to just be in the energy of love without that attachment to what does it need to be, because you're gonna have everything that you desire, you're gonna have everything that you want. But when you affix to a certain expectation, that's when you hold yourself back. It's like you're in a restaurant and you know what it is that you want, and you point to something on the menu and you're like, I want that meal. Well, if you're constantly wondering what's the meal going to look like, what are the ingredients that the chef is using, what is are they cooking it to the right temperature, are they doing this, like, that's chasing, right? Because you're so concerned. At some point you have to allow the universe, which is the chefs in the back, to do its job and to bring to you what it is that you've chosen, essentially, that you've been creating. That doesn't mean that you sit passively back, but you don't have to be in the kitchen with the cooks, right? You don't have to be in the kitchen with the universe. You have to have some semblance of faith, some semblance of trust. You have to do that with your masculine too. You have to have some semblance of faith and trust and belief in them as well. And because you're believing in yourself, because you're anchored into faith within yourself, you're allowing yourself just to enjoy the journey. You're allowing yourself to be at the table, enjoying the company of those around you, and the parts of the meal that's already been brought to you. That's a metaphor for the parts of your life that you've already created. Enjoy your friends, enjoy your family, enjoy your work, enjoy your passions. And if there's anything that you're not enjoying, where can you make those adjustments? Where can you tweak some of that energy to get more and more into alignment? That's your job. That's the action that you take. But the universe is gonna be meeting you where you are. So I feel like there is a huge renewal energy that's coming in for these connections, and it's gonna feel like the beginning again. And not the beginning as in, you're right back to the starting point. You're at the starting point of a higher level of your journey now with a more conscious awareness, and that's what the beginning is. So you're going to be approaching it and each other with more consciousness, with more communication, with more vulnerability, with more realness, with more honesty, because that's what you've anchored into, that authentic expression of yourself. And that is what's going to heal the connection and help the connection to kind of like regenerate, continue to build. It doesn't mean sweeping the past under the rug. There might have to be some communication and conversations about that, but it's not doing so from a place of resentment. It's not doing so from a place of you did this and you did this and you did this. It's coming from a place of we have to acknowledge what we've been through, while recognizing this is how we can be better. This is how we can communicate better. This is how we can speak more openly, speak more honestly. For divine feminines, it might be you having boundaries and saying, hey, listen, I'm not good when you ghost. I'm not good when you disappear and stop communicating with me. If you're going to keep communicating with me, we're not going to have a connection. That kind of boundary, making sure that your needs are met, making sure that you're heard, making sure that you hear each other, because you're able to communicate much more openly. Again, truth be told, and you see how you have the wisdom of the owl, which is that higher consciousness, and then you have that open heart. It's not caged anymore. It's not caged. These are like windows, like window doors, where it's closed but you can see into it. Well, no, it's open now. It's open access, and what that means is you're letting down the guard and allowing that love to flow between the two of you now. Whereas before, you might have been able to see into the heart and the soul of each other, but there was still a guard up. And that's what you've been clearing. That's what you've been healing. That's part of this transformation energy. It's part of the mending. That's part of the healing that is coming through. Now you're doing this together. You're doing this in honoring of each other, in respect for each other, in collaboration with each other, in cooperation with each other. That is what a connection is all about. That's what a sacred relationship is all about. And whatever you two decide you want your relationship to be, for some, it could be friendship. For some, it could be romantic relationship. For some, it could be family. For some, it could be building a business. For some, it could be everything. It really depends on where you are and what it is that you want. Don't deny what it is that you want, but have that open dialogue, have that open communication, and make sure that you are not neglecting yourself or abandoning yourself. That's especially for the divine feminines. Making sure that you're not neglecting or abandoning yourself, because that's, again, keeping yourself small, right? Making sure, but also you're not trying to control it. You're not saying, well, I have to have this. You can work together. You can dialogue together to have that open communication. And that's where we're going to start seeing. And I feel like June is going to be a pivotal point, a turning point, a creation point, especially for these sacred unions. We might start seeing an uptick of that now. I've had several clients who have come back to me and said that they have been in contact with their partners who they haven't been in contact with for years. All of a sudden seeing them or hearing from them. But this is a navigation point. This is how you put into practice all the tools and all the resources that you've learned about yourself, not fearing how are they going to react, not fearing how are they going to communicate, not fearing the separation again. You anchoring fully into who you are and expressing who you are with those tools, with those resources of compassion, of love, of forgiveness, of peace. I always say keep following your peace. The more that you follow your peace, the more you know you're in alignment, even if they are difficult decisions. But that's how you both grow. And so if it is a true sacred relationship, a true sacred partnership, like a twin flame connection, then you can never truly push your counterpart away. There's just more to learn. There's just more to grow from. And that's what they're going to be showing you. That's what you're going to be showing each other. So I feel like bringing this all together, I feel like there's going to be communication, or there is communication. It might be some back and forth for a little bit, but it's only because the energy is recalibrating to be able to sustain that physical union. So there might be communication in some separate ways, and communication some separate ways. Don't get into the fear. Don't let that trigger you into, oh my gosh, I'm in separation, and work through that. If it's triggering you, that's where you're meant to be working through the fears or the anxieties or whatever. That's your trigger point, and that's where the work is. So I feel like it's all for the sustained union to be able to hold the energy of each other and to be able to work through the triggers together. And so I feel like there is a healing, there's a mending, there's a new beginning that's coming through, and that new beginning is much more sustainable than it was when you first met and when you were first activated to this journey, because you know more now, you have more tools, you have more resources, you have a higher level of consciousness than you did then. But now it's about embodying that higher level of consciousness within your connection within each other. And that's where you have the regeneration. That's where you put down greater roots, firmer roots, more stable roots. That's where you have a chance to really blossom and build together. But it's a process. So don't get yourself caught up in the romanticized Hollywood of it all. Allow yourself to let it be a spiritual connection, an energetic connection. Let it be a process. Doesn't mean that you're not going to have everything that you want physically, Doesn't mean that you're not going to have all those magical moments. Just let it be a process that unfolds, because the magic is in the unfolding. I can guarantee you that if you look back at your journey and you look at the moments that you were fully present, not expecting anything, not forcing anything, not manipulating anything, those were the most magical moments for you. Anchor into that. Keep anchoring into that. All right, we're going to look into the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine. We haven't used this deck in a while. I'm going to use the Twin Flame Ascension deck and just kind of see where the masculines and feminines might be along their ascension journey, their sacred union journey. What's going on for the Divine Masculines right now? What's going on for the Divine Masculines right now? We have the High Priestess expanding consciousness. I'll get to that in a second. What's going on for the Divine Feminines right now? What's going on for the Divine Feminines right now? Increase your frequency, higher conscious awareness. Interesting. Expanding consciousness, higher conscious awareness. You guys are mirroring each other. Open your heart, set loving boundaries. Perfect. And the union energies, please. Fast track to ascension, the chosen one, and we have spiritual awakening. Shift or be shifted. Yeah, this is a choice point that we're in right now. I'm also getting called to this enter the vortex or enter your vortex, aligning with infinite abundance, but I'm getting called to the spiral. It's like, this feels like the fast track. This feels like really, really the fast track to your ascension. I'm going to hold this out because I feel like there's something about that. So I'm going to start, where am I going to start? I'm going to start with the Divine Masculine, but I want to point out again that you really seem to be mirroring, so this is really your inner union. So take this for your inner masculine as well as your inner feminine. Let me put this way. If you're a feminine, Divine Feminine, take this for your inner masculine as well as for your counterpart and what they might be going through. Because remember, your inner masculine is your embodied masculine counterpart, and vice versa. So we have the High Priestess, expanding consciousness. We've been channeling for the past year or so that as the feminine rises, the feminine within the masculine rises as well. So as you're healing your divine feminine energy, divine feminine, your counterpart, the person, your physical person, their inner feminine is healing and rising, which is what activates their masculine to rise, to become the emperor, so to speak. I feel like they are tuned into their intuition. I feel like they are growing, and it feels very rapid. It feels like at a very rapid rate. I feel like they are very tuned into their third eye, very tuned into their intuition, very much listening to their heart and letting their heart guide them in some respect, especially when it comes to their healing journey. I feel like there's a lot of reflection that's going on. I feel like they are seeing things in a new light from a new perspective that they hadn't considered before. The masculines in a distorted or wounded lens. From the unconscious masculine, let's put it that way. The unconscious masculine is very focused on the material, very focused on the 3D life. And because of that, there's a very limiting essence about them. There's a very limiting energy. However, the more that they grow conscious, the more that they tune into the feminine energy within them, you have both, and the inner union is balancing out both, right? Learning how to trust the intuition, but take action on that inner guidance. The more that they're tuning into their intuition, the more that they're seeing that their physical world wasn't as limited as they thought. They were just looking at it from a very narrowed perspective, from a very limiting perspective. For example, if they felt very stuck in a job, they were looking at it just from the financial means. Like, well, I make this amount of money and this is what enables me to buy a house or have my car or take care of my family or whatever. So they were looking at it from a very narrowed perspective of the finances are what holds me to the job, not realizing that there are an infinite number of solutions. And if they have a job that they actually want to be doing and they're passionate about, that opens up their energy, their frequency rises, and they can make even more money doing something that they actually love. They just have to step out of that limiting mindset of, of the ends beget the means. Is that the phrase? I don't know. Anyway, so it's a real shift in perspective, a real shift in consciousness, that the way that they were doing things, they were limiting themselves. They were looking at it from the narrow mindset. The feminine over here, she has the bigger picture. She can see the bigger picture of things. The masculine can't. I use this analogy in my book and I'll share it with you guys. The feminine energy, she has the big picture of the puzzle, right? She may have the box, so she can see what the puzzle is supposed to look like. And she has all these pieces in her hands, right? But she can see, but she doesn't quite know yet where all the pieces go. That's the masculine template. The masculines have the pieces, but they don't know what the bigger picture is. The feminines have the bigger picture, but they might not have all the pieces. And working together in balance and harmony, guess what? You put all the pieces into place and you have the picture. Does that make sense? So I feel like now with the masculine's energy trusting and honoring and tuning into the feminine, where they weren't able to do that before because of distorted feminine templates that they were clinging to or holding to or that they had experienced in the past, now they're able to see, oh, there is a bigger picture. And I feel like they're able to recognize the divine feminine, that she had that wisdom, she had that bigger picture, and she was just trying to help and guide the divine masculine. Now, that could be your, like you, actually physically in a relationship, or that could be the inner feminine. Take that as it resonates for you and your situation. This is not for the divine feminine saying, oh, I have the bigger picture, let me help heal and fix this for you. That's mothering energy, right? That's not the divine feminine energy. The divine feminine energy has the bigger picture. She's able to provide that insight, provide that guidance in a way for the divine masculine, but it's up to the divine masculine to actually decide for themselves, to take that action or those action steps, to take the lead in that respect, using the divine feminine's guidance. You do this within yourself every single day. The more you tune into your inner guidance, the more you tune into your intuition, that's your feminine energy. And then you take action on that. You decide to take action on that. You can decide the contrary. You can decide not to. For example, if you feel called to, let's just give this example because this is what I'm being called to. There was a time when I went to a certain store looking for shampoo and they didn't have the shampoo that I wanted. And I really didn't want to go across town to another store, but I felt guided to. My intuition said, Susan, just go. Just take care of it. Just go. And so I went, I got my shampoo, and when I came out, I heard this beautiful music being played. And I stopped, and I listened, and I looked across the parking lot, and there was a man playing a violin. And it was the Ave Maria, which has extreme significance to me now, ever since I have come back from Lourdes. So this was, I think it was last summer or the summer before. So it has extreme significance to me, and I actually paused and had a brief conversation with the man. And that never would have happened if I didn't listen to my intuition and just go. Take that action step, decide to listen to the intuition. That's the balance. That's the masculine and feminine balance. The feminine has the bigger picture of the intuition saying, you know what, we should probably do this. And the masculine is the one that decides yes or no, to trust and honor the feminine intuition or to kind of disregard it. So I feel like that's what the masculine is understanding now. They're understanding that the feminine was not trying to control, force, heal, fix, mother, manipulate anything. She was just offering that higher level of guidance, that higher intuition. And the more that he's honoring of her, the more he is tuning into his own intuition, the more he's tuning into his own inner guidance, and that's helping his inner masculine to rise, because his consciousness is expanding to be able to hold a new container, to hold a bigger container of that energy. So I feel like we channeled that a couple of weeks ago about the different containers. I'll put a link to that in the description box as well, to be able to hold the energy and to shift in the energy. I'm also getting guided to the 10, so I do feel like there's a major closure of karma I'm hearing, a closure of cycles that's coming for the divine masculine because of this new perspective. Your energy is what creates the shifts. As you shift in your energy, as you shift in patterns and shift in consciousness to change those patterns, it changes your physical world. So I feel like this expansion that is happening, this enlightenment, this shift in energy and connection to themselves, a higher level connection to themselves, tuning into themselves more, is actually what's creating an expansion. I just keep getting the word perspective shift. This is a huge perspective shift for the divine masculine. Again, they were very narrowed in the way they viewed things, very specific, very limited in the way they viewed things. And so that's where they kept repeating patterns over and over and over and over again, keeping themselves stuck in cycles, in karma, in those karmic loops, because they didn't see a way that they could get out of it, because they were operating from almost like the intellect or the ego. They were saying, oh, this is the only way that I can make a change. Well, it's not. There's an infinite number of ways. It's just our limited egos, our limited perspectives that keep us trapped. But there's always a solution. And it takes trusting the intuition, trusting the feminine energy within you to illuminate those solutions. And that's what I feel like is happening. I feel like that's where they're expanding. And because they're expanding, they're ending those cycles. Does that make sense for you guys? So over here, we're going to move to the feminine energy. I feel like it's similar energy in that divine feminine, you have been going through a transformation. I love that it looks like a butterfly here, that she's wearing these wings here. You have been going through a transformation yourself, but I feel like it's more about embodiment. You're embodying that higher frequency. You are embodying that higher consciousness. You are embodying that empowerment, all the tools, all the resources, all of the lessons that you've been undergoing. You're embodying that now. And I feel like you might be put through the ringer a little bit. I feel like there might be some initiations that are showing you just how to keep embodying that. I'll share with you guys, I had an experience, last week was a doozy for me. I had an experience too where there was a man who almost cut me off when I was driving. And he ended up following me around the parking lot. I parked. He pulled up next to me. And I just ignored him. I was just like, I had just lost my friend. And I'm like, not today. Fucking not today. And he ended up leaving. And, it was this energy of, the distorted masculine will intimidate. But it was this energy of, hell no, you're not going to intimidate me. Especially not today. Like, I was so fiercely like, do not fuck with me, that it's almost like my energy gave that off. And the situation evaporated. That's what I mean by embodiment. It doesn't have to be as severe as that, but that's what I mean by embodying. Like, you're embodying this new level of yourself. This could be advocating for yourself, speaking up for yourself. This could be confronting what needs to be confronted. This could be even just doing inner work within yourself, doing those deeper dives, going into the abyss and allowing yourself to excavate anything that needs to come up. There's been a real big energy of grief that's been coming up within the collective as well. And it could be grieving a loss. It could be grieving a situation. It could be grieving the past version of yourself. But that's what was coming up over the past couple of weeks as well. So just allowing yourself to really embody this new higher energy. And that's what creates the shift, because you're doing it. You're setting loving boundaries, but with an open heart. You're very compassionately setting those boundaries. For example, like with this guy, whoever this was, this stranger, I was very much in my do not fuck with me, but at the same time, I was not like in an angry energy. I was not in a resentful energy. I was not in a like F off energy. I was just setting the boundary of energetically saying, like, I didn't speak to this man. I just said energetically, you will not mess with my energy today. You will not F with me today. I will not allow it. Like, that was a boundary, a loving boundary for myself. But I was still, like, the heart was still opened. The heart was, it didn't close off. It didn't guard in this fear-based energy. So that's an extreme example. But like I said, it was a doozy last week for me. There was so much that was showing me just my own empowerment and how far I have come. and embodying that. And I know that there's going to be even more initiations. But that's what I was saying in the Ascension Energy Update. It's that you have the capacity now. Whatever it is that you experience, it doesn't mean that you won't have challenges. It doesn't mean that you won't have struggles or difficulties in life. But you have the capacity now to handle it, to hold space for it, to deal with it. Those situations of the last week, especially all of what happened last week for me, would have crumpled me. I would have just been in bed and crying and questioning everything and questioning God, and like it was a doozy. It really was. But I felt this sense of peace within myself, and it's because I'm so connected to myself and to God that I said, you know what, I really believe that whatever I experience, I have faith that God will in some way, shape, or form get me through it. That's where my faith is now. That's what I've embodied. That's what I'm anchoring in. And so that's what we're doing. We're setting those loving boundaries while keeping our heart open to that faith. It doesn't mean we're going to let anybody mess with us. It doesn't mean that we're going to, not have struggles or difficulties, but it just means that we're going to be able to have more of the capacity to handle it in a greater sense of empowerment. And that's what empowerment is. Empowerment is you're anchored into yourself, you're connected to yourself, you know yourself, you can handle yourself. And not handling yourself as in the guarded heart, but handling yourself as in the loving heart, the compassionate heart, with those boundaries as well. So I feel like initiations coming in for the divine feminines, but those initiations are just number one, showing you how far you've come, and they're also going to be showing you where there might still be a little bit of work. I still need a little bit of work on some areas that was shown to me last week, but that's the work. That's the journey, and it's just gonna keep leveling up. You just keep leveling up because you're doing the work. All right, going into the union energies, fast track. That's exactly what this feels like. This feels like a vortex that is this fast track. It feels like everything is building, everything is speeding up. We might feel this paradox. This journey is nothing but a paradox, isn't it? We might feel this paradox where we are called to rest and slow down and just be, but that's because the energy is speeding up. And I've shared this with a couple of clients. I think I shared this in the reunion and reconciliation reading or channeling, that what might look like small steps are actually energetic quantum leaps, especially when you're communicating with your counterpart. If your counterpart comes in with a short conversation, a small conversation, just recognize how much it took for them to do that. Because it might not look at it from your standpoint, divine feminine, especially if you're holding on to the past. But it takes a lot. These masculines are beautifully sensitive, and I say beautifully sensitive because that is a beautiful thing. They are sensitive souls, and for them to be brave enough and have the courage to step up, especially after a long absence, tune into the energy. Make sure you're trusting in the energy. If it still feels distorted, if it still feels energetically low, vibrational, etc., you don't have to engage. But I'm talking about, those who have been going through transformation. It might be something small, but it is energetically a big step. So don't have the expectations of this is what it has to be. They have to come in with flowers and down on their knees. I'm joking with my friend. I cannot wait for Bridgerton season 3. I've been joking with my friend about it. I should say we've been joking with each other because if you guys don't know Bridgerton, there's a best friends to lovers storyline between two characters named Penelope and Colin. And Colin is just, oh, we're just friends. Like, he is very dismissive of Penelope, who is in love with him. Really speaks to the journey sometimes, doesn't it? Especially those who have experienced that we're just friends or friend zone or the ghosting or whatever on this journey, the runner chaser dynamic with this journey, right? So anyway, with the way that he had treated her, my friend and I are just joking. He needs to be down on his knees. We need to see him groveling in season 3. But that's for the show, right? That's the fun of the show. In actuality, what is it that we actually need from our counterparts? Do we need that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Some of you might be saying, absolutely, I need that. Do the inner work. Keep looking at that. Why is it that you need that? Is there not a sense of forgiveness within yourself? Is there some kind of guarded heart there? Do you actually need that? That's not to say that you don't need conversations. That's not to say that you might not need apologies. That's not to say that you don't need them to show up and step up. Absolutely, that's what you need. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying if you have an expectation that they need to come in with flowers and a proposal and grand declarations, that's still a distorted template, right? It doesn't mean that you don't want that eventually, but if that's what your expectation is, then there's still some kind of a template that you're affixing to. That's where you release that. That's where you have to allow the journey to be magical in and of itself, because that's still trying to control how it looks, how your union unfolds, how your counterpart comes in. Remember, the smallest steps can be the greatest energetic leaps forward. And so it's all about the energy. We have to tune into the energy. If they're coming in with open and honest conversation, isn't that truly what you want? If they're coming in having their heart in their hands for you, isn't that what you want more than roses and promises of dates, etc., etc.? All that stuff can come, that's fine, but that's just an expression, right? That's just an expression of a feeling. It's not anything itself. I always say romance is an energy that expresses the love that you have within. And you can express that in a number of different ways. It doesn't have to be, starlit walks. It doesn't have to be romantic dinners. That's all nice. It's beautiful. It's part of the human experience that we love. So I'm not denying that or negating that. So please don't misunderstand me. I'm not denying or negating that. I'm a huge romantic myself. I love all that shit. But I'm saying we have to look at this first from the energetic standpoint. And look at this as far as how far you've come together. What is it that you truly want from your counterpart? Is it just roses and relationship and proposals that you want? If it is, ask yourself honestly, be radically honest with yourself about what does this journey mean to you? Or is it that you want to feel like you're connected with each other, that you're on the same page, that you can work together in collaboration, that you can be open and honest with each other, that you can communicate vulnerably and intimately and build that trust with each other, that they can be your best friend? What is it that you actually want? Now's the time. Being very present in this energy is what creates those time strands, those new time strands, those new creative points. That's the fast track that we're in right now. We're in the fast track of manifesting this new beginning. We're in the fast track of this spiritual awakening. Now is the time for you to shift or be shifted. Now is the time for you to decide what is it that you actually want. And by you deciding what is it that you actually want, by being really radically honest with yourself about where you are and what it is that you want and what this connection means to you, that's what creates a radical shift. All right, let's get a little bit deeper. Yep, we're just going to get a couple more cards here. I just want to see, how is the divine masculine and the divine feminine feeling about each other? How's the divine masculine feeling about the divine feminine? How's the divine masculine feeling about the divine feminine? Page of Cups, Nine of Pentacles, and the Six of Wands. I feel like there's a couple of messages that are coming through. The Seven of Swords, I actually like this energy here. This feels like honesty. This feels like revealing the truth. Remember, truth be told, this feels like finally being open without the self-sabotaging tendencies, without the self-deception, wanting to go forward and be open, wanting to go forward and be honest. And I'm getting that from the Page of Cups, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Six of Wands, because they want this sense of victory with you. Two messages here. I feel like they're seeing you as the Knight of Pentacles. They're seeing you in your power. Lots of solar plexus energy here. In your empowerment, you're self-sufficient, you're independent. There's a little bit of a sense of, I don't feel like the divine feminine needs me. Look at her. She is successful. She's glowing. She is growing. She is amazing. What do I have to offer? So there's a little bit of residual woe is me, victimhood energy. But I feel like they're learning to overcome that. I'm getting that from the Page of Cups as well. I feel like they're overcoming that. I feel like they're learning to really love themselves and recognize what they have to offer. And as they recognize what they have to offer, they recognize what they bring to the connection. They recognize what they have to offer to the feminine. And again, it's not the material. That is the distorted lens where it's just material. Oh, I have cars and boats and this amount of money in my bank account and this many houses and this kind of a job. Like, that's all the material stuff. That stuff doesn't matter. It doesn't. Not for a spiritual connection. You know, it might be something that you want to experience as part of your human experience, and that's perfectly fine. But when it comes down to the crux of your connection with each other, it doesn't matter. That's just the material aspect of it. What the divine feminine really wants, the divine conscious feminine, she wants, can I be present with you? Can you hold my emotions? Can you hold the container for me when I need you? And I just saw a meme or something, a quote that said, a true, beautiful, committed connection and interdependent connection is when you're able to hold the difficulties for each other. So it's not one person always carrying the weight of the relationship, you know, because there's going to be times when you divine feminines have shit that you're going through as well that are hard, that's hard, you know, as well as the divine masculine is going through stuff that's hard. So there's times when you're going to have to hold the container for the divine masculine, and there are times when the divine masculine's going to have to hold the container for you. And I feel like divine feminine is like, can you do that? Can you hold the container when I'm going through a hard time? Can you be there for me? Can you be my stability? Can you be my sense of security? Can I trust in this? Can I trust in you? That's what she wants. She wants intimacy, presence, stability, trust. She wants to lean in to the divine masculine and feel safe in being held, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually held. That's what the divine feminine truly wants. That's what the divine masculine is beginning to understand, that it's not just the material stuff. That's part of what this expanding consciousness is all about. That limiting perspective was all the material stuff, right? That's very limiting, very narrowed. You know, there's more, and that's what they're beginning to understand. So I do feel like the divine masculine wants success, wants to bring a sense of recognition to the connection. And when I say recognition, I mean acknowledgement. They want to acknowledge the connection. This is a divine masculine that is recognizing what this connection is and what it means. They might not use the word twin flame or sacred partner. They might not have that same language, but they're recognizing on a deep soul level that this is a different connection that they've experienced and how much this connection and how much you mean to them. And they want to acknowledge that. Again, small steps, the Page of Cups, they might only come forth with a little bit at a time, but those small steps build the foundation, a stable foundation for more intimacy. And that's where the beginning, the regeneration might come from. It might come from, you know, building it up. You might start out as friends and build up from that because you're building the foundation. Acknowledging, you know, where you might have been friend zoned in the past, or, you know, it might have been back and forth energy in the past. It might have been, you know, I want to be friends, but the actions weren't matching the words. Maybe it's, you know, friends with benefits situation, whatever it was your situation was. You know, that's where you have your boundaries. That's where you communicate. That's where you say, you know what? If friendship is all you have to offer, I'm not interested. If friendship is all you have intentioned, then these are where my boundaries are. You know, it's about the intention. You can build slowly, but it's about the intention and making sure that you're on the same page, that you have the same intentions. And that's what the Page of Cups is beautiful for. It's not rushing into anything, it's allowing the foundation to be built. So I do feel like this divine masculine is recognizing the feminine, wants to acknowledge and recognize the feminine, wants to offer to the feminine, but there's still a little bit of residual energy of what do I have to actually offer, but they're working on that, and that working on that is going to build and build and build and build and build to be able to provide what it is that the connection needs to succeed consciously. All right, and what is the feminine feeling for the divine masculine? We have the Devil. It feels like a lot of sexual energy. Yeah, the Knight of Wands. Yeah, it feels like a lot of sexual energy. It doesn't have to be like physically sexual, but I feel like energetically, sexual energy is a creative energy as well. So that's what this feels like. It doesn't feel negative. The devil can often feel negative. Yeah, Knight of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles. It just feels like hot energy, hot on the heels is what I'm getting, the phrase that I'm getting. So it feels like there's a lot of movement, and almost like the sexual energy is pushing you forward. Divine Feminine might be pushing you forward into your passions. You might be feeling the masculine energy, your inner masculine energy, which is your outer masculine, remember. You might be experiencing that as a push for you to keep creating, to keep moving towards your Ten of Pentacles, to keep building within yourself. This feels like a very fiery, passionate energy. And I feel like your masculine is helping to ignite that fire within you. They just brought it to me. So when I was going through a little bit of a health scenario crisis last week, I really felt my masculine with me, and it was almost like he was um, not just like energetically holding my hand in comfort, but it was like he was empowering me. He was empowering me to keep stepping up, to keep acknowledging myself, to keep clearing the trauma of health scenarios that I've had in the past, and say, you know what, that's not me now. He was really that fiery energy in me that was igniting that sense of empowerment. That's what this energy feels like. It feels like a passionate energy that is moving you to embody more of that fire within you, and that creative energy within you too. um, there might be sparks of creativity that you're being called to, especially as divine feminines. There might be new sparks of creativity that you're being called to, and that's your masculine energy that is kind of lighting that fire for you to create. You have a lot of fire energy here, and then you have earth energy. This is the balance. The earth energy really tames and tempers the fire, allows it to blaze. What they're showing me is a fire pit dug into the earth. The earth is a container for the fire so that the fire itself doesn't get out of control, right? That's what this energy is. And I feel like this is your inner masculine that you're feeling. You might be feeling your outer masculine or experiencing your outer masculine as well. But I feel like this is your inner masculine, or at least your energetic masculine, that is pushing you forward and pushing you to really ground, cement, create in your physical form. So, divine feminines, you might be very materially focused right now. Not in the distorted way that the masculines were, not in the limited way, because I feel like you're very balanced. But what are you creating? What are you building? What are you manifesting for your life? That fire is actually what's going to help the connection. Because as you're creating, your masculine's going to be over here creating, and then you both meet and you're like, wow, look at this beautiful garden we've just created. Look at this beautiful garden we've just cultivated. And how can we grow going forward? So I feel like there's a lot of fiery energy, sexual energy, creative energy that is just kind of that you're feeling the masculine's energy, but it's pushing you forward into this embodiment of yourself. Interesting. I want to get a little bit more about the feminine. Anything else for the feminine? Did just see the Nine of Cups. Anything else for the feminine? How's she feeling about the divine masculine? I don't feel like the masculine is heavily on your mind. It doesn't feel obsessive. It doesn't feel like, well, let me put it this way. When it doesn't feel obsessive as in it was in the past. For example, last week when I was in that daydreaming mode, a lot of what I was thinking about was my counterpart. What is it that I want to create, not just for my life, but in conscious connection? What would I, if everything was as I dreamed it to be, what would I want my relationship with my counterpart to be? And again, it was just like creative points, timelines, time threads coming out from my heart space, and I didn't allow myself to judge it. Anytime that I tried going back into my ego, well, that's not possible because of this in our past, I cleared that energy. So you might be thinking about your counterpart, but again, that's pushing you to create. That's pushing you to manifest new timelines. But it's not the obsession energy of the past. It's not the what is he doing? What is he thinking? How is he feeling? It's about you. What is it that you want to create? What would bring peace to you? What kind of experience in relationship and love do you want? And that's what manifests. That's the divine feminine energy. The divine feminine is the one that holds the vision The divine masculine is the one that makes it happen. Okay. We are going to leave that there. Let's see if... Just get a card of guidance for the full moon. What do we need to know for these union energies for the full moon? Don't let your past hold you back. Exactly what we were just saying. Be bold and make the first move. Create. Hold the vision. Create. Keep creating from that standpoint, from that space. And Divine Feminines, this is especially for you. Your inner masculine. Be bold and make the first move as far as what it is that you're creating in your life. That's the Ten of Pentacles. That's the Knight of Pentacles. What are you offering to yourself? What are you creating for yourself in your business, in your work, in your career, in your family, in relationships, in travel, whatever this is? What is it that you're creating for yourself? Don't let yourself hold yourself back. New timelines are being created right now. This is the turning point. This is the fast track of your ascension with your counterpart too. I am currently open to readings for a fundraiser charity reading. I am not going to be, they're going to be closing at the end of the month, and I'm not going to be open again for readings or services probably until August. So if you would like to book with me, make sure that you're doing that this month in April, because I won't be open again until likely August, maybe even beyond that. Likely. I might come in with a little special reading here or there, but I'm going to be very busy catching up on projects and launching the book. So if you guys are interested in any of that, do make sure that you sign up for my newsletter. That is where you'll get any news and specials and updates and information at SusanDawnSpiritual.com. All right, I am sending you all so much love, so much light. We will be back probably not for another week or so. We're going to let this rest, let this sit, and see how the energy shifts. Do let me know how this is resonating with you in the comments. I'm sending lots of love and lots of light, and we'll see you soon.